Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wishing You Well podcast. I'm your host, Maria Patrick, and as always, I am truly wishing you well in your body, in your mind, and in the rhythms of your everyday life. Today, we're going to talk about something that almost every one of us struggles with at some point: sleep. More specifically, how the timing of what you eat may be quietly sabotaging or hopefully beautifully supporting your ability to get a deep, restorative night's sleep. Because here's the truth. It's not just what you eat. It's also when you eat it. And if you've ever laid in bed, exhausted but wired, or woken up at 2:47 a.m. like your brain just clocked in for a shift, or fallen asleep fine enough but popped awake at 4 a.m. and couldn't drift back, this episode is for you. We tend to think of sleep as a neurological event, and yes, it is, but sleep is also a metabolic event. Your blood sugar, your insulin, your cortisol, your digestion, your liver, your nervous system, they're all involved. When your metabolism is unstable at night, your sleep also becomes unstable. And one of the biggest drivers of nighttime instability: erratic eating patterns and poorly timed meals. So we're going to break this down gently and practically, and hopefully this will give you some tips and tricks for how to proceed. Let's first talk about late night dinners, the late dinner dilemma. If you're eating a large meal at 8:30 or 9 or even later than that, and then climbing into bed at 10 o'clock, your body's not ready to sleep. It's ready to digest. Digestion is active. It requires blood flow, enzyme production, movement of your muscles, and energy. Your heart rate while you're digesting stays slightly elevated. Your core temperature also stays slightly elevated, and your insulin may spike. Deep sleep requires the exact opposite. In order to have deep sleep, you need a lower heart rate, lower core body temperature, stable blood sugar, and parasympathetic dominance. That's that calm, restorative nervous system state, which quite literally is referred to as the rest and digest state. If your body is still processing a heavy meal, there's no way you're going to be able to fully shift into repair mode. You may fall asleep, but you won't drop into that deep, restorative stage of sleep that rebuilds your hormones, detoxifies your brain, and helps to repair your tissues. So if possible, we should be aiming to finish dinner about 3 hours before bedtime. Now, that's not as a rigid rule, but it certainly provides a rhythm. So now let's talk about the other end of the spectrum, that 3 a.m. wake-up call. Undereating, or eating too early and not enough. If you eat dinner at 5:30 p.m. and skip any evening nourishment, and then go to bed at 10:30 p.m., by 3 a.m., your blood sugar may dip too low. And when your blood sugar drops, your body does what? It releases cortisol and adrenaline to bring it back up. What does cortisol do? It's going to wake you up. That's the classic 3 a.m. wide-eyed moment. That's your blood sugar taking a dip. This is going to be especially common if you ate a very low-carb dinner, if you had alcohol, if you are under stress, if you're perimenopausal or postmenopausal, if you exercised intensely late in the day. Your body's not broken. It's trying to protect you. It thinks you need fuel. So what supports deep sleep? We're looking for that sweet spot, the balanced evening eating. And that's exactly what you need, a balanced dinner. What does a balanced dinner look like? It's got protein, plus healthy fat, plus fiber, plus a modest amount of complex carbohydrate. So we're not looking at a carb-free dinner, nor are we looking at a mountain of pasta. We're looking at something balanced. Carbohydrates in the evening can actually help sleep, but they have to be paired appropriately. So why is this? It's because carbs help increase tryptophan availability in the brain. Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin. And what does serotonin convert to? Melatonin. And what does melatonin do? It helps to regulate our sleep cycles. So when you have that small serving of a sweet potato or quinoa or brown rice or lentils or even a piece of fruit as dessert, these complex carbohydrates, they actually support your sleep, not sabotage it. The key is, once again, that key word, balance. Carbs alone, what are you going to get? A blood sugar spike and then a crash. Protein alone, possibly an overnight dip. A balanced plate, that's where you find the sweet spot, the stability. Let's gently address the false friend. That's alcohol. Alcohol can make you sleepy, yes, it's true, but it fragments our sleep. It suppresses the REM sleep early in the night, and that causes rebound wakefulness later on. Alcohol also impacts blood sugar regulation, and it increases nighttime awakenings. You might fall asleep faster, but you won't sleep deeper. If you're working on improving your sleep, try experimenting with reducing or eliminating alcohol for 2 or 3 weeks and notice what shifts. Now let's talk about caffeine. Caffeine has a half-life of roughly 5 to 8 hours, sometimes longer, depending upon genetics and personal liver function. So that 2 p.m. cup of coffee, it may still be active in your body at 10 o'clock p.m., even if you feel fine. Sleep latency, which is how quickly you fall asleep, isn't the only metric. Caffeine can reduce deep sleep, even if you don't consciously feel wired. So if sleep is your goal, consider keeping all your caffeine before noontime, or switching to half caff in the afternoon, or rotating in herbal options in the afternoon. Again, you don't have to do this forever. Try it as an experiment and see if your sleep improves. How about the nothing after 7 p.m. myth? So here's something that I want to clear up. Some people sleep beautifully when they have an early dinner and no evening snack. Others of us might need a small stabilizing snack before bed. There's no universal rule here. This is the way you judge it. If you consistently wake up between 2 to 4 a.m., try having a small bedtime snack. Even though I told you to close the kitchen 3 hours before bedtime, if you're waking up consistently in the middle of the wee hours of the morning, try doing this, having a small bedtime snack that consists of a protein plus a carb. What does that look like? A little Greek yogurt with a few berries, a couple of apple slices with some almond butter, a little bit of cottage cheese sprinkled with cinnamon, a small handful of nuts, and maybe accompanied by a few cherries. So we're not talking about a late night snack of cookies or chips or even a bowl of cereal. What we're aiming for here is stability, not stimulation. I talk a lot, and I have done so in previous podcast episodes, about circadian rhythm. And circadian rhythm plays a role here also with our meal timing, because our body runs not only on light cues, but also on food cues. So eating very late will shift your internal clock later. Eating erratically, all different times on different days, confuses your metabolic signaling. If you are consistent with your meals, this is something that I have strived to be great at, and I am very consistent now and have been for several years. Consistent meal timing is going to help regulate the following things: your insulin sensitivity, your cortisol rhythm, the release of your melatonin, and digestive enzyme production. So that's not only going to help you with sleep, but with your digestion. You don't need perfection. Once again, what are we looking for? Balance and rhythm. Having breakfast around the same time every day, having lunch at the same time every day, and having dinner at a roughly similar time most days of the week. Your body loves predictability. It makes it feel safe, and safety is what calms the nervous system and allows us to have that deep sleep. So let me summarize all of this into something usable. These are my key points here. Number 1, finish your dinner about 3 hours before bed when possible. Number 2, include these things in your meals: protein, fiber, healthy fat, and a moderate amount of complex carbs. Number 3, if your sleep is fragile, limit alcohol. I think you should limit alcohol anyway, but that was a subject of a previous podcast episode. You can look in the archives for that. Number 4, keep your caffeine earlier in the day. Number 5, if you're waking up at 3 a.m., experiment with a small, balanced bedtime snack. And number 6, eat consistently. Your body loves rhythm. Most importantly, you are your best case study. So take up these tips on for yourself and pay attention to the results. Pay attention to your data. If your sleep is struggling, try asking yourself, what is happening with my body? Am I underfed or am I overfed? Am I eating too late or am I skipping meals? Am I over-caffeinated? Am I under-recovering? Sometimes the solution isn't to take a bunch of sleeping pills or even the buzzword for sleep now, which is magnesium. And I'm all for magnesium. But sometimes it's having dinner at 6:30 instead of 9, or protein with your lunch instead of just a salad. Sleep is not separate from nutrition. Sleep and nutrition are deeply intertwined. So if this episode resonated with you, I invite you this week to shift something, just one thing. You don't have to do all of my recommendations. It's not a complete overhaul. Choose one. Have an earlier dinner, balance your plate, take in less alcohol, add in that stabilizing snack. Whatever you decide to do, whichever one of my recommendations, these small shifts can create powerful rhythms. And when your body feels rhythm, it rests. Thank you for spending this time with me today on the Wishing You Well podcast. I am, as always, wishing you well. Deep rest, steady energy, and nourishment that truly supports you, not just in what you eat, but when you eat it.